Mainland has an amazing spirit, and I like the camaraderie. I like that everyone is so proud to be a Buck. And when I first came here, I felt that right away from the first day, the first meeting I had with Dr. Salerno, the first faculty meeting, that we were all part of this wonderful family, that we help each other out, we do things for each other, and you do what you would do for family. And so that was one of the first things that struck me, and that's, I think, probably what I'm most proud of.
One student that I know I remember the most is Ronicia Stiles. I met Ronicia in 2013, school year 2012-2013. And Ronicia was a very special student, and she was an inspiration for Girls with Styles, which was established in 2013. Ronicia's last name was Stiles, and she endured a traumatic battle with leukemia, and Stiles, her last name, became the name of my groups. But it's an acronym which stands for Soaring Through Your Limits, Embracing Self-Esteem. STYLES. She was a model student, and I was inspired by her and her perseverance through her illness to create the group Girls with Styles.
Well, gosh, my students have taught me a ton about music, even some dance moves. I think one of the things that I enjoy most about our students is they teach me that there is a lot of hope for the world ahead, because there's a lot of good people in our teenagers.
The students. I love being with them. It keeps me young. It keeps me motivated. I'm just coming here to do what I love to do, that is to teach and to promote an education.
Ooh. What made you decide to be a teacher?
The money. No, I'm just kidding. Learning sign language has, it opened up a big world for me, and I like to share that with other people.
Okay, that's nice.
That you really have to think in the perspective of somebody else. That learning isn't always pretty, like you can see things happening. It isn't always what it looks like, coming from the culinary background. Learning can be painful to watch, but it's the end result, getting there and helping the students out. They've taught me to be patient and not to assume anything, and that you never stop learning.
Be right back. I was invited to the senior dinner.
Nice.
And that's from Montserrat. So kudos, thank you. I can't wait, it'll be great.
They always say thank you, and when they work hard, that's really how they show appreciation, I think, is because they work hard in class and they do what they need to do.
We've gotten stronger, more open. The relationship between student and teacher has been more of a shared responsibility. I love the analogy where we're meeting on a bridge and we're meeting like halfway. Students come up to the halfway, and the learning process is more of a shared activity than it is a teacher-driven or student-driven or whatever. We still have standards, we still have all those things we're teaching to make sure we're doing them. Really has developed into a shared culture of learning.
I feel I have done my job when at the end of the day I can go home and I reflect and think about, have my students learned what I wanted them to learn? Not just from looking in the grade book, but growth that I have seen my students achieve. I think that makes me feel like I've done my job. When I see the growth in my students, not only physically, but mentally as well.
Yeah, that's easy. Absolutely, it's interacting with students every day. Kids are what makes being a teacher worth it. I mean, everything that teachers have to kind of deal with sometimes and get a little bogged down. But when you're actually in the classroom and you're in the moment, kids give you laughs and they give you knowledge, and every day is different. Every class period is different. Always on your toes. Something's always happening, and they give you hope for the future. That's probably the most important part.
I went to Mainland. 86 through 89, class of 89, and just the family oriented, all of us, we all get along as far as faculty and staff and administrative staff, and they just made me feel like part of one big giant family, and then the kids, of course, so that's why I love Mainland.
Students have taught me patience. We've had a lot of great students, and currently have a lot of great students, but it's the ones that are struggling that really test your patience and really help you to grow as a teacher.
Your generation and the one right before it are the first generations to actually demand respect before they show it. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because we weren't raised that way. We were raised that adults were always right, and they really didn't have to give a reason for things. I don't think that is right. I think you have a right to have somebody respect you before they reciprocate.
Okay, so I'll give you an example of a specific student. So this was my second year teaching. A student came and asked me a question. A very nice young man, very bright, did very well in my class. He asked me, how fast does gravity act? Now, this was a question I had never considered. As a matter of fact, it was a question I almost thought was absurd. But as I spent time with the student, I started spending more time with that question also. I started kind of reflecting on the things I had learned, and that maybe there was another concept out there that I hadn't quite received. I found that as time went on, that students helped me to do this all the time. Sometimes it's about physics, sometimes it's about life, sometimes it's about education. But the questions that they ask me help me to reflect on the real ideas that I focus on in class and in life.
Mainland is my family. They hired me first, and I probably will never leave. I had a heart-to-heart with Dr. Salerno when I first got hired in April, and Mainland High School is a family. They look after you, you look after them, and I think that all the people and all the students and everybody that's involved with Mainland High School, it's just a certain amount of love that you don't get anywhere else or any other high school. It's different.
My students have taught me a lot about myself, actually. I suffer from anxiety, and I have anxiety a lot in groups of large people, but with my students I don't have anxiety at all. So they have taught me a lot about myself, and that when I am confident in my knowledge and in the people that I'm around and I feel comfortable with them, that I can kind of be myself, and that helps them to be themselves. And so we can all kind of work together to achieve what we need to achieve.
I'd have to say the most, or the best thing that I like about Mainland, many of us talk about it, is how family-oriented Mainland is among the faculty. And as far as the students go, how accepting students are of other students.
They're absolutely unforgettable. They're my first ever class that I've ever had. That was my own. So they were super awesome and so much fun. I think it was a learning experience for both them and me, and it was super fun.
Well, sometimes when we have the teacher day or something like that, they come with a gift card for Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. That's appreciated, but I love with the students staying home, stay in class, and do your job. That is priceless for me.
My students make me smile every day, and they're really good at voicing their opinions, and if I make a mistake, they allow me to do a lot of redos.
Okay, my favorite thing about being a teacher is all the kids I get to work with every day, how different everyone is and how special each one is in their own way, and I just love that. That's my favorite part.
Show up and sing and be happy to exist in music. I think music, because it's my passion, I love when the students get into it and they are excited about music. That makes me happy.
My favorite part about Mainland culture would be the teachers, because our teachers are so dedicated to the students and to the school, and actually to the tradition and excellence that is Mainland. Whenever you say Mainland High School, people say Buck Pride never dies. And the reason for that is because of the teachers who love their students. So the teachers and the students are all about the tradition, and they are what makes Mainland High School excellent. I so appreciate all of our teachers.
I highly appreciate teachers for many reasons, but one that I like to talk about a lot is they're like our home away from home. We see them Monday through Friday, hours on ends, after school, before school, during lab, sometimes even during lunch. Basically, they're just like our second parents, you know? We're so used to seeing them for most of the year, and all they do is they try and they care for us, and they try to make everything possible so that we do learn and we do get a good education, and they want us to succeed in life. And so all the little things that they do, you may not think like, oh, that's not gonna help me in the future, but in reality it really will. And they wouldn't teach you things if they didn't want you to like take a life lesson from it and use it in the future, or show your kids. Or I just think teachers are they should be appreciated more because they're great people in your life. And I appreciate every single one that I've had and even the ones I haven't had. So they're like my home away from home. Thank you.
Something that I enjoy that my teachers do is help us learn through projects. So while we're researching for the projects, we actually learn better because we're researching every aspect of the topic.
My favorite memory of something that a teacher's done for me would probably be the time that I went to Miss Ferrer's class after school, the day before grades went in, and she stayed with me all night just to help me fix my grade.
Last year, my junior year, there was a kickball game for kickoff for giving. Coach AJ was on the DJ board or whatever. Music was playing, everybody was laughing, and the teachers won that game, and I wasn't expecting them to win. It was very hilarious. I slipped at third base trying to get back, and it was just a really fun moment. And just to see your teachers actually do athletic action is really crazy because you think that they're slow.
I appreciate how teachers are very understanding. Sophomore year, I had health problems, and all my teachers were very helpful in my healing process and made sure I was able to get back to my regular self.
So something that I appreciate that teachers do to help me learn is going to lab. I have this one teacher, and she lets me come to her lab every day, even though she isn't my lab teacher technically, but she's always willing to help me, and she never complains, and I ask a lot of questions, but she makes sure she answers all of them, so thank you.
I like to thank my teacher who has helped me in yearbook and math and just helped me in life as overall and things that she's done.
It's just really amazing that of all the lessons they teach us, we still manage to learn to love them.
I love teachers that have different teaching styles so that they can get the point across in a way I can understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so I appreciate teachers because my teachers, what they do for me is they level with me and they treat me like a human being, and they're sympathetic, they're empathetic, they're trying their hardest to make sure that I'm comfortable and I'm learning anything that I can, and they're making sure that I'm on the right path.
I want to say thank you to the teachers because teachers inspire students, period. I know for me personally, teachers have inspired me to do better and keep trying so I can reach my goals and be the best person I can so I can make a difference in this world. And teachers are the first world changers because they inspire students and students end up changing the world. So thank you teachers for putting up with us students and doing all that you do. So we love you guys.
Something that I will never forget about a teacher is that once they actually see that you're their student, they will actually help you learn new things. One of my experience that I've learned is that this teacher would always make me learn new stuff. Every day I would walk in the classroom and I like how they do projects according to what we're learning, and they do not rest until we've learned something, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
I appreciate teachers because they always help students in their hard times, and whenever it gets tough, they always pull through with it.
So something that a teacher's done for me that helped me a lot was when I'm in math, I struggle, and I always ask so many questions, and they never get annoyed with me or make me feel like I'm not learning as fast as others, and they really just help me and explain it in a way that I'll understand it. So I really appreciate that because I'm passing math.
Something I appreciate about our teachers is that they're always there for us and always push us. They always push us to make us better. And another thing is they're always kind, and I always think that. Thank you, teachers.
I appreciate teachers because they help us understand and comprehend things that goes on in life and on tests.
A lot of times where I can look back when I really needed somebody that wasn't my parent. I really needed a guide, somebody to help me through whatever challenges I was facing. And I can look back and recall a lot of times where my teachers that I trusted here at Mainland High School helped me overcome those things.
I just want to thank our teachers for all they do. They put so much time and effort into what they teach us, and it's really going to help us go far in the future. Thank you, teachers.
Yeah, I appreciate how hard my teachers work to make sure that I'm successful in the future.
Something teachers do to help me learn easier is they actually go through it and explain, and they like get up here and they answer every question that I have to ask, and I just really appreciate it.